Hello, everyone, and welcome to the SD Times Live microwebinar series. This series is with a testing company called Mabl, and in today's live, we'll be continuing our discussion on various testing topics. To catch you up, episode 1 focused on how automated end-to-end testing can be used to facilitate innovation, and episode 2 focused on how to maximize the value of end-to-end tests with accessibility testing. And today we'll be talking about how to ensure the performance of your apps by leveraging end-to-end tests. With me today is Owen Henley, Product Manager at Mabl, and now I'll kick things over to him.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So, hey everyone, my name is Owen Henley. I'm a PM over at Mabl, been with Mabl for about a year, and most of that time spent working on our new performance testing features, which I'm excited to talk about today. So it might be obvious that having a fast and performant application is a good thing, but let me provide some data points as to why application performance is so important. So according to Akamai, a 1-second delay in page load time can reduce conversions by 7%. Google notes that if a mobile app is taking longer than 3 seconds to load, 53% of users will abandon it, and 45% of consumers will leave a slow website with a bad impression of the business. So the bottom line is that performance has both an immediate and a long-term impact on revenue, and performance issues today can be hurting your future growth. So for these reasons, performance testing has been identified as a high priority for many teams. From a Gartner survey, 65% of respondents are using or planning to use performance testing, and the majority expect that their investments in application performance will increase customer satisfaction within the next 18 months. However, only 6% of software teams are fully confident in their performance testing strategies. So why is there this difference? Why is there such a high interest in performance testing, yet so few teams are confident in how they're approaching the practice of performance testing? Well, there are a number of challenges that exist with the way that organizations are adopting performance testing, and some of those challenges stem from the acceleration of software development by DevOps practices. So in the past, it was okay to have a group of experts with deep knowledge of performance testing tools who would handle the performance testing as a separate project. They would identify the key services and the APIs, create a set of performance testing scripts, provision the infrastructure to run the performance tests on, and then ultimately generate a report to share with the development team where they identify critical areas to improve. But depending on how large your team is, how much budget you have, and your ability to hire experts or external consultants, this can bring several challenges. So there's extensive training and ramp up required, which creates a high technical barrier. The long feedback cycles and lack of collaboration creates performance testing as kind of its own silo. And having performance testing scripts that are decoupled from your functional tests means that performance testing can quickly become outdated as your application evolves. And in many cases, the complex and expensive licensing of tools made performance testing cost prohibitive and bureaucratic to access. So these are the main reasons leading to low adoption and low confidence in performance testing strategies. So what should performance testing look like for a modern team adopting DevOps practices? Well, at Mabl, we're bringing performance testing into our unified platform for quality engineering in a way that allows teams to continuously ensure the performance of their applications under load by leveraging their existing functional tests. So specifically those low-code functional tests that teams are already using to test their business-critical user journeys. And some key aspects or key benefits of this approach are, firstly, elimination of the concept of a performance testing script. So with Mabl, you'll leverage your existing low-code functional tests to create performance tests, and thereby you don't need any specialized or highly technical performance testing expertise. It's built on Mabl's scalable SaaS native platform, meaning you don't have to worry about maintaining your own infrastructure for performance testing. And by having a unified platform across both functional and non-functional testing, you can ensure continuous quality across your entire application. So now let's take a deeper look into Mabl's new performance testing capabilities, and where we've started is with API load testing. Now this enables Mabl customers to reuse those existing functional API tests and run them in a load test. Now the initial version that's available for early access supports a concurrency of up to 1,000 virtual users, looping for up to a duration of an hour, as well as ways to configure SLOs around response time, HTTP error rate, and functional pass rate, of course, alongside easy to understand reporting to help teams identify any performance bottlenecks. So creating a load test in Mabl is as simple as selecting which existing Mabl API tests that you want to run under load. You set the number of concurrent virtual users, set the duration, the ramp up, and optionally add any failure criteria that correspond to your SLOs around metrics like response times of your APIs and error rates. And this makes it easy for any member of a quality team to start load testing. And by reusing those functional API tests in a load test, you get the added benefit of a lower maintenance burden. So you're not having to maintain those performance testing scripts separate from your functional tests. And you get the guarantee that your functional and performance tests are always in sync. In terms of executing and orchestrating load tests, we have a couple of different options, including on-demand or ad hoc runs in the Mabl cloud. Teams can use Mabl plans to run tests on a schedule. So for example, if you want to run a load test at the end of every sprint. And for those who have fully automated pipelines and a pre-production environment, you can trigger automated performance tests on deployment through your CI/CD tools such as Jenkins, CircleCI, GitHub Actions, and others. And lastly, Mabl provides detailed performance reporting to help teams easily identify performance bottlenecks and share those reports across the team. So let me close with a brief overview of Mabl. So we are the leading low-code test automation solution. We're built for high-velocity teams, so those adopting DevOps practices. And our goal is to be the easiest to use solution that allows you to confidently deliver quality at scale, which is why we've built a platform that enables comprehensive end-to-end test coverage for browser, API, accessibility, and now performance, fast, scalable, and reliable quality feedback wherever needed, and we seamlessly incorporate into the automated testing tools that you already use. So that was a quick overview of how to leverage Mabl for their Mabl end-to-end tests in performance testing, and happy to take any questions.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Owen. Before we end this live stream, let's circle back on a few things. So can you talk about how like a user would actually create the API test that would then be used in the performance test?
Yeah, definitely. So there are two main options. So we do support import from Postman. So you can just directly import a Postman collection of API tests into Mabl. And the other main option is we have a low-code API test creator and editor. So similar to the Postman experience for creating API tests, you can create them directly in Mabl in a low-code manner. You can create assertions, assign variables, and ultimately run those tests. So whichever option folks choose to go with is supported.
Awesome. And I see you've started with API load testing. So when will browser load testing be available?
Yeah, so ultimately the goal is to have both browser and API load testing in Mabl. So this is browsers. We're working on that in the second half of the year. But ultimately, we've heard use cases across both browser and API. Some customers wanting to run a combination of API and browser load tests all concurrently to simulate kind of the real world load that their application might experience. And so that is the vision that we're driving towards.
Perfect. That's all for today. Tune into episode 4 on July 19th to learn about how AI is making end-to-end testing more reliable.